Rejection can feel like a door slamming shut, and you're left standing there with your face pressed against it, wondering what you did wrong or what you could have done better. But here's the truth: rejection isn't the end. It's a chapter, but it is never the whole story. Let's pause for a second and reflect on what rejection really is. Rejection doesn't diminish your worth. It doesn't invalidate your dreams. What rejection does is show you where to grow, where to heal, and where to show up more authentically. It's not a reflection of your capability, but a part of your path that invites you to realign with your truth. Rejection can feel like the final word on a dream, a project, or a part of your life. It's that gut punch moment when you feel unseen, unheard, or unworthy. We've all been there, waiting for that yes, for that approval, for that moment when the effort, time, and energy we've invested into something finally pays off. But instead, we hear no. And in that moment, it can feel like everything we've worked toward has come crashing down. But here's the truth. Rejection is never the end. It's a moment. Yes, but it is not the conclusion of the story you're writing for yourself. Often we can become fixated on rejection as if it's the last word on our worth, talent, or potential. We tie our sense of value to the outcome, thinking that if we don't get the approval we want, it somehow diminishes who we are. But rejection doesn't have that power unless we let it. Think about the great innovators, leaders, and creators throughout history. Every single one of them faced rejection. Every one of them encountered the no at some point on their journey. If they had let rejection define their worth or stop them from moving forward, the world would look very different today. Think of artists whose work was dismissed by critics, entrepreneurs whose ideas were laughed at, or writers whose manuscripts were rejected by publishers. They could have given up. They could have believed that rejection meant they weren't good enough. But instead, they saw rejection as a step in the process. They understood that rejection is just one part of a larger, ongoing journey. Rejection might feel like a closed door, but it's also a signpost pointing you towards something better. Sometimes the no you receive today is just clearing the path for a yes that is more aligned with your growth. It may be that you weren't quite ready for the opportunity that you thought you wanted. It could be that the project you pitched wasn't the right fit at the right time. But none of that means you've reached a dead end. It means you've reached a turn in the road, an opportunity to take a new path or approach. One of the most powerful things you can do in the face of rejection is to recognize that it doesn't define your future. Rejection may feel discouraging, but it's just feedback. It's not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of the circumstances at that moment. The timing might not be right. The person or group you sought approval from may not be ready to see your vision. But that does not change the fact that your dream, your passion, and your talent are still valid. What matters most is how you respond. Do you allow rejection to be the full stop? Or do you see it as a comma, a pause before continuing the journey? Rejection challenges us to step back, reflect, and think about how we can evolve. It asks us to find new ways to communicate, new ways to connect, or new ways to improve. It invites us to become more resilient. In reality, rejection is a teacher. It teaches us humility, it teaches us patience, and it teaches us perseverance. It tells us that we are human, and as humans, we are constantly evolving. We are not static, and we don't need to be perfect right out of the gate. What rejection teaches us is that growth comes from continued effort and learning, and we are allowed to make mistakes along the way. The idea that rejection is the end is an illusion. It's a temporary moment that, when viewed in the larger context of your life, holds far less weight than we often assign to it. It is not a reflection of your worth as a person or your capacity for success. It's simply a part of the process. If we allow it to be the catalyst for reflection and growth, we can use rejection as fuel to build something even greater. So the next time rejection knocks at your door, don't let it stop you. Don't let it convince you that your journey is over. Instead, take a deep breath, reset, and keep moving forward. Rejection may be a chapter, but it is never the full story. When we face rejection, it's easy to view it as a sign that we're not enough, that we failed, or that our dreams are unattainable. Our hearts get heavy with the weight of the disappointment, and our minds can spiral into self-doubt. But what if we could see rejection not as an obstacle, but as an invitation? An invitation to look inward, to grow, to adapt, and to move forward in a way that is more authentic to who we truly are. Rejection can be viewed as the universe's way of gently nudging us to take a step back and reassess. It asks us to reflect on what we want, how we want it, and why we want it in the first place. If we allow it, rejection opens the door to deeper self-awareness and clarity. It's an opportunity to examine whether we're pursuing something because it truly aligns with our values and passions, or whether we're chasing something because we think we should or because it's what others expect of us. This shift in perspective, seeing rejection as an invitation rather than a defeat, can be transformational. Instead of getting bogged down in feelings of inadequacy, we can ask ourselves, what can I learn from this? What are the lessons that this rejection is trying to teach me? Perhaps there's an area of growth or development that I hadn't considered before. Maybe this rejection is a signal that I need to refine my approach, learn new skills, or try a different path. The truth is, sometimes we don't know what's best for us until we experience rejection. We may think we want something, whether it's a job, a relationship, or an opportunity, but only through rejection do we realize that the thing we were aiming for wasn't the right fit. It could be that there's something better waiting for us just around the corner, something that will help us grow in ways we never imagined. Think of rejection as a filter, one that helps you focus on what truly matters and guides you toward what will serve you best in the long run. For example, if you're rejected for a job you really wanted, it could be that the job wasn't the right environment for you, or that the company's values didn't align with your own. This experience may push you to look for opportunities that will provide a better work-life balance, or that will challenge you in ways that allow you to flourish more authentically. In relationships, rejection can also be an invitation to reflect on your own needs and desires. It can be painful, yes, but it also encourages you to think about what qualities you truly value in others and what kind of relationship will help you grow and thrive. It can teach you more about yourself, what you will tolerate, what you want, and what you need to feel seen, loved, and valued. When you start to see rejection as an invitation rather than a rejection of your worth, everything changes. It opens you up to possibility. Instead of wallowing in self-pity or questioning your abilities, you can ask, what can I take from this moment? How can I grow? What's the next step? Rejection isn't just about closing doors, it's about guiding you to the right ones. Think about it like navigating through a maze. Sometimes you have to hit a few dead ends to find the true path. Rejection helps you make course corrections, and in doing so, it allows you to create a more meaningful, fulfilling journey. The key is to trust that rejection isn't the universe telling you to stop, but rather asking you to redirect, realign, and focus your energy in a new direction. Embrace the lessons it offers. It's giving you the chance to dig deeper into your own potential and explore new avenues that might lead you to exactly what you need, even if it doesn't look like what you initially expected. So instead of letting rejection define you or make you feel small, treat it as an invitation to evolve, to grow, and to move forward with renewed purpose. Vulnerability is often seen as a weakness. It's the act of opening up, exposing our deepest fears, insecurities, and desires to the world. And when we experience rejection, vulnerability feels especially risky. We've put ourselves out there, allowed ourselves to be seen, and yet we were met with a no. It's easy to want to close ourselves off, to build walls around our hearts, and to protect ourselves from feeling that sting again. But what if we reframed vulnerability as not something to avoid, but something to embrace? Because vulnerability is not weakness, it is the birthplace of courage. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we are giving ourselves permission to show up fully in the world. We're saying, I am willing to take a risk, to put myself out there, even if it means I might be rejected. And yes, rejection can hurt. It can shake us to our core. But every time we choose vulnerability, we also choose courage. Vulnerability doesn't mean being weak or passive. It takes incredible strength to be vulnerable. It's the strength to face the fear of judgment and failure, to stand in the face of uncertainty and say, I'm still going to try. I'm still going to put my heart into this. It's the courage to remain open, even after experiencing disappointment, to keep showing up with authenticity, and to keep pursuing what matters to us. Rejection in this light becomes an opportunity to develop that courage even further. When we embrace vulnerability, we're no longer playing it safe. We're acknowledging that rejection is a part of life, but it doesn't define us. It doesn't diminish our value. In fact, we find even more strength in facing it head on. Think about it this way: if we only ever do the things that are safe, the things we know will work out will never grow. We'll never experience the full range of what it means to live, to create, to love, and to dream. Courage isn't about never feeling fear. It's about acting in spite of it. It's about stepping forward, even when the outcome is uncertain. Rejection teaches us that vulnerability is a strength. When we put ourselves out there and allow ourselves to be seen, we give others the opportunity to connect with us on a deeper level. It's not about being perfect or flawless, it's about being real. And that authenticity builds stronger relationships, deeper connections, and more meaningful opportunities. One of the most powerful aspects of vulnerability is that it allows us to connect with others. When we share our true selves, flaws and all, we invite others to do the same. We create an environment where others feel safe to take their own risks, to show their own vulnerability. In this way, vulnerability becomes a ripple effect. It creates a space for others to step into their own courage, just as we have stepped into ours. So when you face rejection, rather than retreating into self-protection, try leaning into vulnerability. Embrace the discomfort, accept the fear, and know that with each step, you are building more courage. You are fortifying your ability to stand tall in the face of adversity. Rejection no longer has the power to break you, because your vulnerability gives you the strength to rise again, each time stronger than before. Ultimately, vulnerability is what allows us to take the risks that lead to growth. It's the willingness to be seen, to show up, and to try again. Without vulnerability, we miss out on the beautiful potential of what could be, because we're too afraid of what might not be. So the next time rejection knocks on your door, instead of shutting yourself off, step forward with courage. Let vulnerability be your guide, and know that in embracing it, you are building a future where fear doesn't hold you back, but instead courage moves you forward. When we experience rejection, it often feels like we're being judged on our worth, whether it's a job we didn't get, a relationship that didn't work out, or an idea that was dismissed. It's easy to internalize rejection and think, I'm not good enough. We let the outcome determine how we see ourselves. But here's a crucial truth. Rejection doesn't define you. Rejection is a moment in time. It's not a reflection of your entire being, your potential, or your value. In fact, rejection is about the situation, not you as a person. The person or group who rejected you may not have understood your value or seen the full scope of your talents, but that doesn't mean those things aren't there. You are not defined by someone else's perception of you. In many cases, rejection simply means that the timing wasn't right, that your path is meant to take a different direction, or that the person or opportunity wasn't a fit for who you truly are. We all have our own journey, and rejection is sometimes a necessary course correction on that journey. It redirects us toward where we truly belong, towards something better suited to our strengths, passions, and growth. Think about the moments in your life when you faced rejection. Now ask yourself, who am I outside of that rejection? At the core, you are a person of worth, capable of incredible things. The rejection doesn't strip you of your abilities, your dreams, or your right to succeed. It's not an indictment of your character or your potential. It's just a circumstance, a part of life's ebb and flow. We often confuse failing with being a failure, but failure is not an identity. It's an experience. And just like any other experience, it can be used to fuel growth, to push you toward new challenges, and to teach you valuable lessons about resilience, perseverance, and the importance of self-compassion. When you accept that rejection doesn't define you, it becomes easier to separate your identity from external circumstances. You can stand strong knowing that the rejection is simply one outcome not the final answer to who you are. It's one part of your story, but it is not your whole story. In fact, some of the most successful people in the world have faced countless rejections. Think of famous authors whose manuscripts were rejected by dozens of publishers before finding success, or inventors whose ideas were laughed at before changing the world. They didn't stop at rejection. They saw it as part of the process, not the end of the road. They knew that rejection was not a reflection of their abilities or worth, but rather a step in the direction of their ultimate success. You are worthy of success, love, and belonging, not because of the outcomes of your efforts, but because of who you are. You are worthy because you have the courage to show up, to try, to take risks, and to keep moving forward. Rejection might sting, but it cannot take away your value. It cannot diminish the person you are at the core. So the next time rejection comes your way, remember this: you are not your rejection. It is simply one chapter in a much larger story. You are capable, you are deserving, and you have a future filled with potential, one that has not been defined by any past no. Rejection doesn't have to limit you. It doesn't have to shape your future. You are the author of your own story, and every rejection is just another plot twist, another opportunity to rise and keep going toward the life you're meant to lead. Rejection is not just a moment of pain. It is a powerful catalyst for growth and transformation. Every time we face rejection and choose to rise from it, we are building something invaluable: resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from setbacks, to remain strong in the face of adversity, and to keep moving forward despite challenges. And one of the most effective ways to build resilience is through experiencing rejection. At first, rejection can feel like a personal failure. It can knock us down, shake our confidence, and make us question our abilities. But if we allow ourselves to view rejection as an opportunity rather than a setback, we can start to see it as the gift it truly is. Each rejection is an invitation to grow stronger, to refine our skills, and to adjust our course as needed. It's a chance to prove to ourselves that we are capable of withstanding challenges and bouncing back stronger than before. The truth is, resilience isn't something we are born with. It's something we cultivate through experience. It's the result of facing challenges head on, picking ourselves up after we've fallen, and continuing to press forward no matter how many times we encounter rejection. Resilience grows in the moments when we least feel like getting back up. But we do so anyway. When we experience rejection and choose not to be defeated, we develop the mental and emotional strength to persevere. Each time we rise again, we prove to ourselves that we are not defined by rejection and that we have the power to overcome it. Resilience isn't about avoiding rejection. It's about learning how to handle it with grace, persistence, and an unwavering belief that we can keep going. Think of a muscle that gets stronger the more you use it. The same is true for resilience. The more we face and overcome rejection, the more resilient we become. We start to view rejection as a natural part of life's process, not something to fear, but something to embrace as a necessary part of our growth. Resilience also teaches us patience. When we face rejection, it often feels like we've failed to achieve what we want. But in reality, rejection can be the universe's way of guiding us towards something even better. It takes time to build the life we want, and resilience teaches us to trust the process, even when things don't happen as quickly as we hope. Moreover, resilience helps us develop a growth mindset, a belief that we can learn, adapt, and improve through effort. Each rejection gives us the opportunity to evaluate what worked, what didn't, and how we can adjust our approach moving forward. Instead of viewing failure as a sign that we are not capable, we see it as a lesson that helps us grow and refine our abilities. Resilience is about embracing challenges as opportunities to become better versions of ourselves. And just as importantly, resilience teaches us self-compassion. It reminds us that setbacks and failures do not make us less worthy or less capable. We are allowed to make mistakes, to fail, and to feel disappointed. But we are also capable of showing ourselves kindness and understanding, allowing us to heal, learn, and rise again. So instead of fearing rejection, consider it a stepping stone in the development of your resilience. Each time you face rejection and rise to meet it, you strengthen your ability to handle future challenges. You develop the emotional endurance to navigate life's ups and downs, and you build the confidence to keep moving forward. Rejection doesn't defeat you, it teaches you, it strengthens you, it makes you more resilient, and with each lesson learned, you become more capable of achieving the life you desire, no matter how many times you are knocked down. So to those of you sitting with rejection right now, I want to leave you with this. You are not broken. You are not flawed, you are human, and in your humanity, there is power. There's power in your story, in your resilience, and in your ability to continue forward. Rejection is just a moment. Your legacy is being written in how you choose to rise after it. Thank you.